Let's be honest, bullying is one of the hardest things to spot and one of the most nerve wracking things to get wrong. As a TA, you might worry, what if I overreact and it turns out to be just a joke? What if I underreact and a child ends up seriously hurt or emotionally scarred? What if I report it and nothing changes? Or worse, it makes it worse for the child. These are real valid concerns, but they can't stop you from noticing because some of the children you support are counting on you to see what others miss. So today's video is all about giving you confidence and clarity to recognise bullying for what it is and respond in a way that makes a difference. We're going to walk through 5 real-world bullying scenarios you might see in primary school. For each one, I'll explain what's really going on, the subtle signs that signal bullying, what you as a TA can do. So let's dive in. Scenario 1, the friendly teasing that is far from friendly. So you hear a group of children laughing. One child is the centre of the joke. He's smiling, but his smile doesn't reach his eyes. You've heard the same joke now 3 days in a row, always at his expense. What to notice? Is the child always the target of the joke? Is there a power imbalance? For example, a louder or more popular child dominating the group? Does the teased child go quiet or withdrawn afterwards? What you can do. Don't dismiss it as banter. Ask the child privately how they feel. If they shrug or brush it off, let them know you're here if they want to talk. Log it on your safeguarding reporting system and let the teacher know. Repeated emotional targeting is bullying. And you know that laugh, don't you? The one that sounds like it's all fun and games until you actually look at the child being laughed at. At first you think you're being oversensitive, but by day 3 of the same joke, you realise there's more to it. Sometimes kids try to join in with the laughter just to stay safe, but that doesn't mean they're okay with it. Scenario 2, the missing things mystery. One pupil always seems to have lost something. Pencil case, packed lunch, reading book. At first it seems like forgetfulness, but then you notice they're nervous around a certain group of kids. What to notice? Patterns. Is it always happening on the same day or near the same group of children? Reactions. Does the child involved look anxious or scan the room when something goes missing? So what to do about it? Keep track in your notes, dates, what went missing, who was nearby. Quietly observe interactions, look for eye rolls, mocking or accidental bumps or grabs. Report it on your safeguarding system with specifics. This is a pattern of intimidation. And of course, let the in all cases, report on your safeguarding reporting system and tell the class teacher. I once worked with a child who lost a couple of jumpers in a week and neither of them turned up at lost property. So that sort of set me thinking. It's so easy to write it off as as disorganized behaviour until you notice who's always nearby when it happens, or that tiny flinch when you ask them if they've lost something again. That's when I started to pay more attention. Scenario 3, the online bully. So a student seems tired, distracted, and upset most mornings. You might notice them always looking at their phone in the playground before school begins. What to notice? Do they talk about online interactions differently lately? Are they checking their device more anxiously or avoiding it entirely? What to do? Gently ask if something's bothering them and reassure them it's safe to talk. Pass your concerns on to the safeguarding lead and put it onto your and actually write it into your reporting system. Cyberbullying often hides in plain sight, but the school has a duty to act. Yes, it's no good the school sort of trying to sort of abdicate its responsibility when it comes to phones, because I realise that it's a tricky one because most primary schools won't let children have their phones when they're in school. I mean, most schools that I've worked at, they have to hand not most a lot of the children don't have phones, but a significant and rising number do, and so the office would take the phones in. But I think because of that, schools can sort of abdicate responsibility about it. But even if you never see the screen, you'll often see the fallout. So it's important to pick up on the signs of whether cyberbullying is taking place. Scenario 4, the isolated child. So this is the child who no one wants to sit with. They hover at the edge of games at playtime, but are never invited in. So what to notice? Is it a consistent pattern of social exclusion? Have you heard other children talk negatively about this child behind their back? And what to do? Find quiet ways to include them, pair them up, give them helpful roles, praise their contributions. Bring it to the attention of the class teacher, as always. Repeated exclusion isn't kids being kids. It can seriously damage confidence and well-being, and so I would definitely report it on your safeguarding reporting system. Because you know the child who always ends up sitting with the adult. Sometimes that's not just preference, it's self preservation. You notice it over time, how their name doesn't come up when students are choosing teams, for instance, how they hover near games but never called in. So, that can be really damaging for a child. So it's really important that you see it and you start to gently do something about it. And scenario 5, the helpers who hurt. So sometimes a child, maybe with special educational needs and disabilities, or a visible, sorry, I'm going to say that again. Sometimes a child with SEND or a visible difference, thank you, got it right this time, gets help from classmates, but the help isn't helpful. It's patronising. It keeps the child from having a say, or it maybe turns into mimicking when the adults aren't watching. So, what to notice? Does the child being helped look uncomfortable? Are their needs being used as entertainment or control? What to do? Step in kindly but clearly. It's great that you want to help, but let's check if Sam wants help first. Share what you've seen. Don't assume others have noticed. This kind of bullying can hide under the radar of good behaviour, and it might be good behaviour. The child that's helping possibly, well, and probably most definitely, doesn't understand that they're helping too much. So you need to be careful with this one, on both sides. Well, you need to be careful on both sides for every scenario, because that's why bullying must be reported, because the bully needs help as well as the child who's being bullied. And this particular one can be so tricky because it looks like kindness until you see maybe the child shrink under all the help. So if their independence is being undermined, it's really important to do something. Once I supported a child who had a classmate who would rush in to help every time and take over everything. Gave no choice, no voice. I mean, I laugh because it was meant kindly and we were able to do something about it, and help the child who was trying to help too much see that, they needed to back off a bit. Because even praise can sting when it's laced with power, especially if it's always about how good the other child is for being friends with them. Can you imagine what that's like? This child is continually helping you. You don't need their help, but the adults are praising them for being helpful. So it's an important one to look out for, as they all are. So you don't have to be perfect, you just have to be present. Being the adult who pays attention, who notices, who doesn't brush things off, that's what makes you powerful in a child's life. So if something feels off, don't ignore it. You're the one who can help a child feel seen, protected, and strong again. I really hope this video has helped, and if you're looking for more clear, practical support to boost your confidence as a teaching assistant, then you might like to see all my free TA and control resources. Whether you're navigating SEND, support, behaviour strategies, or everyday classroom tasks, these resources are created to be immediately useful because there's no fluff, no jargon, just helpful tools you can put into action right away. If you'd like to get your hands on all my free resources, like the ones you can see here, that will help you continue the wonderful work you do, type "free resources please" in the comments section below this video. Thank you for watching.